Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing Dumpee stages to get ex back. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Check out my socials for extra content. The links are in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing Dumpee stages to get ex back. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, it can feel like a long journey ahead. In today's podcast, I'm discussing 3 likely stages that you will go through as a dumpee before hopefully getting your ex back. And even if you don't, you will find happiness. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is stage 1. So if you are a stage 1 dumpee, you are going to be thinking of your ex 24/7. Now stage 1 might sound like it's something which happens straight away, and although that is the case, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be in stage 1 many months, if not years down the line. Unfortunately, some dumpees are still struggling within stage 1 many months or years, as I've just said, later post-breakup. So, although stage 1 comes first, the length of time you remain in stage 1 isn't dictated by anything other than your own progress beyond this. Now look, this isn't a race. You need to be doing things at your own pace. But hopefully through my support, you can progress through stage 1 as quickly as possible is for you, because it's no fun. It's no fun being in stage 1. It's no fun thinking of your ex 24/7. It's no fun viewing their stories. It's no fun checking their social media, asking friends of friends what they're doing, checking up any way, shape or form. Stage 1 would also incorporate you literally chasing your ex, whether that is in a physical sense, waiting outside where they work, or continually texting them, begging, pleading, reasoning, trying to get your ex back in a state of desperation. That's stage 1. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean you've only been dumped a few weeks ago. You might be in stage 1 9 months later. But hopefully with my support, you can progress through stage 1 as soon as you are able to, because it is not an enjoyable experience. It's not something you want to stick around in. And when you get beyond this point, you will look back and think, I was never going to get my ex back within stage 1. It was not a happy place to be. I was feeling anxious all the time. I wasn't feeling in any way near my best self. I was feeling terrible. My weight either ballooned or my weight severely dropped. It's very hard to maintain your health, fitness and weight during stage 1. Some people overeat. Some people feel they can't eat at all. This is a very difficult time. You're experiencing feelings very similar to a combination of grief and drug withdrawal. This is a situation where you are likely to feel desperate, you might feel hopeless, and you might feel confused about how your life progresses from this point. You might not see happiness beyond where you are right now unless it involves your ex. If anybody was to ask you, could you consider dating someone new? You would say, no, I can't date anybody else. I only want my ex. My ex is my God. My ex is my goddess. They are the king. They are the queen. I can't imagine anybody else. I don't want anyone else. Don't even try to persuade me to meet anyone else. I just want my ex back. And if they come back, everything in my life will be perfect. I will be happy. I will never make this mistake again, even though I might not know what mistake it is, but I've made. Even though people are telling me I didn't do anything wrong, I know I must have done. Why have they done this? You feel that paranoia, you feel that drain in your mind of your happiness getting less and less and less. As each day ticks by, you are feeling more and more negative, more and more confused, more and more unable to do the tasks that you maybe just did very easily previously, including your job. Stage 1 dumpees struggle to maintain the level of work that they could ordinarily do. Again, if you are listening to this podcast and it's resonating with you, welcome to stage 1. It's horrible to be in, but you will get through this. And I will help you, hopefully through my podcast or audio coaching service, get through the situation ASAP. But if you do recognize it, let me know in the YouTube comments, let me know. Are you stage 1 or are you beyond that, from where we're going to be speaking a little bit further on in today's podcast? Where are you at right now? Let me know and we will see how we can progress you beyond this point, because it isn't where you want to be. And even if you might think to yourself, well, okay, I'm not happy, but this is where I want to be because I want my ex back. I don't want anybody else. I don't want to spend time with friends or family. I don't want to hang out and have fun. I just want my ex back. Well, listen, you may be able to get your ex back in the future, but you won't be able to get them back if you're behaving in a manic way, if you're behaving in a way where you showcase an unstable mindset. So you need to try and relax as best you can. You need to try and stay calm. You need to try and stay positive, because if you don't, you won't get them back. And the best thing you could actually do right now is surround yourself with other people. Okay, you might not be ready to date. You might not even want to think about dating, but please spend time with friends and family. Don't isolate yourself. Don't be someone who is locked alone in their room, head down in the dark. It's not going to help you. It's not going to get your ex back. You should be living your life in a way where you're not isolated, because this is going to be very damaging to your mental health, and things are going to get worse rather than better if you decide to proceed in that way. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please like this video if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And point number 2 is stage 2. So if you're a stage 2 dumpee, you have progressed somewhat from the point that we've just described. You are now open to the possibility of meeting new people, certainly friends and family. You will spend time with friends, you will spend time with family, you'll put on that false smile that you're fairly confident nobody can tell is false. You think you kind of get away with it. You think your friends and family don't know that you're bitterly unhappy inside, because you don't really speak about your ex anymore, even though deep inside in your mind, you're still thinking about them a lot. Might not be quite 24/7, but certainly every day for sustained periods, you're thinking about your ex. Now maybe at this point you're no longer reaching out. Maybe you've discovered my version of a no contact rule, but you're becoming a bit frustrated, but it doesn't seem to be working. Because in your mind, working means you've stopped contacting your ex and they should reach out to you within 2 or 3 weeks and get back together. That hasn't happened, and therefore you're feeling a bit frustrated, but you're thinking, okay, I'm getting through this day by day. I'm not going to reach out to my ex anymore, but I'm not happy. I'm not comfortable with these feelings. I just feel like I'm existing rather than living, but I'm trying not to let on. I'm trying to make sure that my job doesn't suffer. I'm trying to make sure that I go to every event I'm invited to. And you know what? I've even started going on the odd date. I don't want to. My friends persuaded me to join an online dating platform. I've met up with some people and I don't really feel it, but it passes the time. Okay, if you're feeling these feelings, you are a stage 2 dumpee. Now again, please let me know in the YouTube comments if you're stage 2. And also, just bear in mind, like stage 1, there is no time limit. Maybe you was in stage 1 for a few months, and then you was in stage 2 for a year. Again, hopefully, it won't be that long for you, but there's no time limit. This isn't a race. This is your own progress that you have to get through within your own self when you feel ready and able to progress. Now, probably the biggest thing that a stage 2 dumpee might feel able to do is actually be intimate again with a new partner, although they wouldn't see them as a new partner. They will try to make it as casual as possible, probably emphasizing the point because they don't want to hurt or let down this new person. Look, this is casual. I'm not looking for anything serious. I just want something that's casual. And you probably say it so many times, but they say, yes, I get it. It's casual. You don't want anything serious. I get that. You don't have to keep saying it. Sometimes stage 2 dumpees really like to emphasize the point, but they don't want to get serious. Now, the reason for this is because although a stage 2 dumpee might possibly feel that they're able to be intimate once more and live in the moment, they absolutely still only see their ex, the dumper, as their long-term romantic option. They won't consider anyone else. It doesn't matter how attractive they acknowledge a new person is. It doesn't matter how compatible they might even acknowledge someone new is. They aren't their ex. And therefore, although they're not chasing their ex anymore, they're thinking to themselves, I'm a dumpee, I want my ex back, and I'm going to wait for them to reach out to me, and then we're going to reconnect and live happily ever after, and therefore, I can't get serious. I can't get serious with anybody else because then I'll be trapped. I need to be able and ready to reconnect with my dumper for when they reach out to me. I hope they do reach out to me. I don't know if they will, and then the anxiety might come a little bit, but Stage 2 dumpees are able to get through that negativity in their mind, at least for a while, and then it might slip into their mindset once more. But by and large, stage 2 dumpees are functioning. They're functioning within life. They might get away with the fact that people don't really know how much they're struggling still, but they will not allow themselves to become in a deep, committed relationship with anybody other than their ex-dumper, who they are hopefully waiting to still reach out to them one day. So as a stage 2 dumpee, it's certainly a lot of progress from stage 1, but it's still very restricting. You're still restricting your happiness in a romantic sense to your ex-dumper. Nobody else is allowed to be that partner of yours, and you won't get anything confused. Maybe if somebody delves deep enough, you would explain the fact that you are still very much heartbroken, but you try to keep it to yourself. You don't even really tell your friends anymore because you feel you're bothering them. You feel that if you keep speaking to them about it, they get frustrated. They might even say, hey, come on, isn't it time you moved on? You know, that type of comment isn't helpful. And because you've heard it a few times now, dumpees in stage 2, you no longer bother speaking to friends and family about it. They're not helping you, you don't think. And therefore, you feel kind of trapped in your thoughts, existing, as I've said, rather than living, or certainly living more so than stage 1, but just not really allowing too much to actually become enjoyable for you. You're functioning, you're being where you need to be, you're doing what you need to do, you're having a few moments not thinking of your ex and instead enjoying your life, but then you quickly go back to thinking about your dumper and just hoping that if and when they reach out to you, you can move in with them again and live the life you once did, ASAP. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about dumpee stages to get ex back. And point number 3 is stage 3. Now stage 3 is where you will find ultimate happiness dumpees. So please keep listening through, because this is the one that you want to get to. This is the stage you want to be at. And this is the stage I promise you can and will achieve and get to, but I can't say how long it will take. Again, it could be months, it might be years. You will get there. Now, stage 3 dumpees are dumpees who find their happiness, but how do they find it? Well, some of you would have got your ex back because you was in stage 2, and guess what? That moment took place that you was dreaming of. Your ex-dumper reached out, and therefore you reconnected. You ditched the person you were seeing, possibly. Maybe you feel bad about that, but you thought, well, it was only casual, doesn't really matter. Or maybe you was a stage 2 dumpee, who, although you went on a few dates, you was never really entwined with anybody at all in an intimate sense, and you felt fairly easy and smoothly transition to reconnecting with your ex-dumper. So some dumpees at the end of stage 2 get into stage 3 in a fairly smooth transition. However, some dumpees are getting into a friends with benefits situation, something a little bit more entwined with someone new, but they still won't give the label because they're hoping their ex reaches out. And in stage 3, sometimes a dumper will do just that. And although it might be a little bit more complicated because people catch feelings, you as a dumpee would end the connection with this new person and get into a relationship with your ex-dumper. But that is not the end of the story, because some dumpees will actually experience something that they very rarely want to admit or allow themselves to even accept in stage 2, certainly not in stage 1. And that is that they finally find someone who they deem better than their ex. Now, you might think as a dumpee, that is ridiculous, that's crazy. And if you're thinking that, well, you're not in stage 3, you're in stage 2 or maybe even stage 1. But if you allow yourself to understand that is a possibility, maybe you're edging towards stage 3 in reality. And that is because you've met someone, maybe at first you thought, this is just a stage 2 situation, it's going to be casual, I want to wait for my ex. But whoa, I'm starting to get to know this person a bit more, and they actually seem really, really nice. Now I'm finding them really, really attractive. They appeal to me on different levels and different ways to my ex-dumper. Okay, maybe in some regards they're quote-unquote not as good, but maybe in others they're absolutely much better. We're all human beings, we're all different. You're not going to find an exact replica of your ex. Even if your ex comes back, they won't be an exact replica of the person who dumped you. Thank goodness. They would have grown and evolved in a different direction since your relationship, just as you have. So that person that you remember being in a relationship with, they don't exist anymore, even if you get your ex back. But certainly with someone new, of course, they're not going to be exactly the same, but in certain ways, they could be better. And if you start to recognize those traits, maybe, slowly but surely, you start to get into something a little bit deeper than you initially thought you would allow yourself to the point of when you actually want to get serious. Now, maybe your ex-dumper still reaches out to you and you have a big decision to make at this time, but perhaps even if they do, you actually decline your dumper because now you feel you found something even better. And ultimately, all that matters in life is happiness. It doesn't matter if it's with your ex or with someone new. If you feel happiness, that's all that matters. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.